Hello, I'd like to show you the sheath that I made for the Swedgelord. Look better from down there than from up here, right? Well, what happened was I was working with some offcut welt leather. I really had just enough to make the fold. And so the construction method that I chose involved building this welt onto this side. And so then when I was putting it together, I was doing all the stretching from one side. So I got some stretch marks here, but that's cool. I quite like that. But because all the stretching was going over on this side, that meant that this straight line became distorted on this side. And so then at one point, I went in and trimmed the leather, the proud leather on this side, and I nearly took out a stitch. And later, one of them popped, and I had to put a string through and pull it back out through there. It got messy with the stitching. This part I got quite nice. But, yeah, once I saw I'd done that, I'm like, well, it's not going to be a really nice sheath now, is it? There's just no way, you know? But I was thinking I could add a little extra stitch in here or what have you. In the end, I remembered that some knife maker explaining how they use epoxy on the side here. And I thought, well, if I do that, that'll hold it all together. And maybe I'll put some on here. And then I thought, well, I'll just do the whole thing, right? So I masked it off a little roughly. And just epoxied all of this area here. So it ain't pretty. But from a distance, you know, it's okay. And it is certainly solid. So even though it's only one layer of stitching and the stitches are massive, it's going to hold together, you know. It's going to take something dramatic to bust that apart. Can't see it happening, really. So, there we see the detent. It's a kind of got a bit of a 1-2 thing there. So when it's all the way in, if I shake like this, earlier it wasn't doing that actually until I shook really hard, but it'll go out to here, and then it's not coming out. So, you know, the best is if it goes in, click, and then there's no movement, and it clicks back out. But this is absolutely functional. You know, there is a detent there, and the knife is not going to fall out easily. And this is very strong. I'm pretty sure I could hang this from a tree and hang off it. Don't know if I'd have the grip strength, but the sheath would survive that, I reckon. So yeah, I got it all stitched together and wet formed. Well, I stitched down to here, and then I started the wet forming. This is my drain hole. The piece of lilac that I made it out of actually kind of split once it was in there. Somehow something I did caused it to crack. Anyway, I just glued it in like that. It's absolutely functional. There you go. Did you see? How did I do that? Oh, hard one to repeat. There was a glint. Anyway. It'll drain. And that'll go on my castrum dangler here. Just fine. And the knife itself, haven't really done much. Except continue to work on the blade. And I'm very happy with the handle in terms of the grip and the comfort and everything. It's really awesome. And actually the blade, likewise. Here's a little lilac stick. It actually cuts extremely well. You know, I'll pick up a knife that's a lot more expensive than this, and it's not nearly as nice to use from my collection. if I haven't put the time in on the blade. Now, presumably, if it was worth the money, then if I put the time into the blade, I'll get it even better than this one, in some regards. But I don't know. I have a reflection, actually, regarding the notion of heat treatment, which is something I'm learning about. But I understand that when you heat treat a piece of steel, if the thickness is different, you know, if you've made this knife the approximate shape of it and then you heat treat it, the heat treatment is not the same on the thinner areas as on the thicker areas. For which reason, you know, you don't put the edge on until after heat treatment, because you would just burn up that metal. And so actually the thinner areas of metal, you know, when this started out, it was probably this long, and it was rectangular. The edge was down to here. And so I've removed all of the thinner metal that went through the heat treatment, pretty much removed it now, even at the point, because we worked our way back this way and we worked our way up this way. And so is it possible that this is a harder core? Now we're dealing with a considerably superior edge steel than the edge steel of the original knife. I mean, I think it's beyond possible. It's fairly indubitable. The question is, how much of a difference does that make? So to find that out, I'd have to buy myself a new swedge knife, which I'm considering doing, actually, is just getting some more of these and maybe making some more of these knives. You know, I could also experiment with different profiles and what have you. You know, you could do a traditional puukko profile with this knife quite nicely as well, or what have you. And so yeah, now the combo is ready. We're really ready for testing, and I'm quite enthusiastic about this knife. It looks funny. I don't think it looks really great, but the profile is nice, you know. And you know, if this blade were polished up, that would help. And something that's unavoidably, I don't really like the way it looks, is these leftover plastic bits here. But when I was looking online about the Camilla Swedge knife, they do a brown one as well. So that might be nice. You know, you imagine this with brown here and then maybe green twine carter or something. And yeah, I'm going to take this out into the woods and probably make a video, at least one more video, reviewing the functionality of this whole outfit. This jimping is so good, by the way. It's really, really good. It's just in the right spot. It's really grippy. It feels comfortable. If I get into jimping, I'm probably going to look into doing jimping like this with this diamond pattern instead of the parallel lines. Well, this is made of parallel lines too, but, you know, in a crisscross. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.